at that. And we still have 2 minutes to go. Or a minute. Jim said my microphone wasn't working. Crap.
I think I hear you. I don't know if that's like an indication, or maybe it's is it too loud or something.
Maybe. Could you hear me through the headphones?
I was able to, yeah. Obviously, I'm able to hear you like clear, so I'm not sure.
I think if I turn my mic volume up while the song's going, I can transition perfectly. I think we have a way figured out. So to those that are listening on the radio, I hope my voice sounds better. I understand there was some crackling on there. So I do, I definitely appreciate the feedback. And I do apologize about the voice. I am saying way too many us tonight. Jeff, we got to get it. You have to do more talk.
I will cue it up. I'll cue up the bed just for you, buddy.
Well, not for me. I don't know why. I'm not nervous. I'm not unprepared. Usually it comes with it when I'm unprepared.
You're your own worst critic, my friend.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, it's that time of year. And I do. When I first decided to continue my education, it was I got accepted into Pitt, right? I went to Pitt. I went there a couple of times. My grandma went with me. We had we got a cool tour. I don't know. She didn't go to the tour with me. It was weird because I did a tour at Pitt, and like it was families.
Yeah.
And then there was just me, like this old man. So like, where's your kids at? I'm like, probably Mexico. I don't know.
Same thing would happen to me. Same Pitt exactly. I went to the engineering school and I was the only one, just by myself. I'm trying to fill the place out, but like you said, moms, dads, daughters, I'm just in the corner trying to learn.
Like everything inside of me was screaming, like, just run away. Like as she goes across the street to show you whatever the campus is.
Like, I gotta feed the meter. Yeah, I gotta feed the meter really fast.
Just leave. Oh yeah, I couldn't find a place to park. It was so weird. Anyway, but I even have a Pitt sticker that is still on my car because I wanted people to think like, oh, that guy's cool. He goes to Pitt. Then I went to Duquesne, met Jeff.
Nice.
And it's just, I'm so glad I made the decision. And I'm not trying to, pump up the University of Duquesne. This is all going to, so this summer, right? It's the summertime. My newsroom professor, who I really respect, I mean, she's an amazing journalist in the real world. She has written some amazing pieces. She's covered the military. And out of the blue, she sends me an article that she thought that I would like, right? So a professor, nice. Her job's over, right? You got paid for and this is it. You move on. And she thought of me, sent me, at the end of our course, she said, hey, in order to really get into this journalism, to take that next step, you got to read good journalism. Here's somebody who I think you would like. She sent it to me. And it just makes me feel like I am really part of a community, that there's an investment in there. And Duquesne is, I miss school. I hate how nerdy that sounds. Like, summer's fun and it's great. I'm doing a lot of cool stuff. But at the end of the day, I miss school. So I'm excited to talk about this. And I do want to give a little disclaimer here. Some of these things that we are going to probably repeat as the school comes, time comes in, as more students listen to us and things like that, as our following hopefully continues to grow. So if, this may be the first time you hear this, but these are some of these topics may be repeated and looked at, and new information comes and things like that. So, and most of you are probably going to peek out of listening to us in about 2 or 3 more weeks anyway, so it doesn't even matter. So picking classes, right? Jeff, have you ever picked your own classes, or do you always go to an academic advisor?
I usually go to the academic advisor. advisor. So I'd like to fill out just because they've been like, hey, they know students have taken these courses and anything. I just like the like, hey, avoid this class.
Mm-hmm.
That way I won't ever just walk into the pitfall.
Sure.
And you'll never get that from just registering for yourself. Granted, it's not the hardest thing to do by yourself, but a gradual like, hey, avoid this class. This is a good professor to take. I like having that interaction because they know they put students in there and they come back to tell them, hey, the professor was great or the professor was terrible. Don't go to this professor.
Sure. What do you think is harder, working as an academic advisor or working as like a claims person for the VA?
Ooh,
What job is more complicated, has more intricacies?
I feel like the VA, but not for like a good reason because they're just denying people for any little thing that they can.
Sure.
Like you
Absolutely.
have a mortar dropped on your shoulder. The other one works fine, right? You're good.
So one of the things that and it's not a complaint, but it's an observation, if you will, that the Duquesne scheduling system is archaic. It is. Well, the last time I picked my schedule, which I'm my academic advisor now, I believe her name's Janet something, has done a great job. However, it is pretty like I'm writing on a piece of paper like it's 1995. Oh, nope, we want to switch this class. We rip up the piece of paper. And the reason I bring that up, it is very important. So here is something that you should do when it comes to getting your academic advice. So when you have your schedule, we'll talk about picking classes here in a second. But when you do get that schedule, take it to your academic leadership, right? So the person that runs that department, right? So I'm a journalist major, so I took my schedule to actually the woman that the professor that emailed me, and she said, okay, yes, you are on track. This is how it happens. And I took, because I'm a double major, then I took the history department, and they did the same thing. Hey, you're on track. So that is something I can't, because I've heard horror stories of where you have to take an extra semester, you have to take an extra class,
right.
you miss something. So it's never a bad idea, especially because the system is a little archaic. It's a little hard to navigate on your own. I mean, I'm not a computer guy, but Jeff is.
Trying to be.
Yeah, and so it's a good idea to get 2, 3, 4 eyes on that. You should know your own academic path, but and then you have these bridge classes. Jeff, what are bridge classes?
Those are like your general electives. So they want you to be a very well-rounded student.
Right.
So a little bit of math here, a little bit of not psychology, but ethics, I believe, philosophy. So a little rounded, at least for the liberal arts department. Sure. I can't say the Bridges department for everyone else, but ours, little rounded. Before you needed a language, but now they kind of scrapped that requirement. But you did at one point, I think everyone did like Spanish. A few eager people took like Arabic, a whole bunch of like languages like that, like Russian. I mean, more power to you.
What about Pig Latin?
I think that might be on there.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to take ethics classes or an ethic class or what.
Ethics.
I don't know why I have to take more of these classes, but I heard that. Is there a good one that you would like? So the classes that you've taken part of the bridge, is there one that? So when you're picking classes, and I may be the only person, but I don't think I am in the same boat. You can take, so what I look for an easy A, that's my first criteria. I want it to be easy. And my second criteria is, am I going to enjoy the class? And there is definitely those two parameters are definitely spaced out by a lot. I'd rather have the easy A than a class I enjoy for the most part.
Yeah. Because I mean, it will eventually end. That's the good thing about it. These classes aren't forever, but that A will be forever.
That's exactly what an excellent. That is excellent. Is there a class that you want in terms of bridges? Any classes or professors or what do they call not pastors? Priest. That you recommend that we all have to take.
At some point, I got to give a shout out to, pretty much all the priests. I don't think I've met a bad priest on the campus. Hopefully don't meet one, but.
Because you're not a 12-year-old boy.
Had to get that one in there. Huh?
I'm kidding. The Spiritans are a wonderful group. And I'm not saying that with sarcasm there. But,
Mhm.
You got to call a spade sometimes.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
it's fine. Yeah, I'd say if you get the opportunity to take a class with Father Swicky, Father Bill's also another good one, and Father Ratu. Cake, yes. He does the theology. So I took him with the Why Have a Faith, but it was just a good dialogue.
Sure.
Just a general like good dialogue, and then writing intents, of course, too. So they got that out the way as well.
Excellent, excellent. So you're saying if the class is led by, what are they called? They're not priests.
I think so.
Are
Priest,
you-
father, yeah,
Fathers.
yeah.
It's probably a good class.
Probably a good class.
How do they grade?
They so Father Bill, I like his grading a little more simple. I will say Father Swicky is on the stricter side,
Okay,
and you will be working for that grade. There's
Okay.
no easy grades with him.
sure. Or is attendance required?
No, but you're either gonna miss a lot of the material because he from the start to finish he just goes. He does not stop,
Okay.
and no attendance required, but it's for your benefit.
Sure, sure.
Unless you just happen to know everything about the subject. Because there are a few geniuses out there. I'm not one of them, unfortunately. But if you do, then you'll just be reading a whole time, which then you miss some of that extra substance that makes it like more understandable. Because for me, one of the classes we had to take, it was his second intro course, and it was all about the Israel war. And I'm not a subject by any stretch of the imagination on it. But being in the class, it made it a little bit easier.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you take a complex subject like that, and then you have.
He makes it digestible, and then it's also an entire book. That was a whole chapter, whole like 2 weeks, and then it was a book. And I still don't think we scratched the surface.
Now, will your academic advisor tell you if it's an easy A?
I feel like I shouldn't say, but yes. I think once you get that dialogue, like once you like meet your advisor, become from like, hey, they'll tell you what it is.
Sure.
I will like shout out to Bill. He was a very good advisor, but he recently transferred. But he would tell me, this is the class, but you're gonna work for it. Don't do this class. Don't work these two together. It was never this is a good idea, bad idea. He weighed out the options and told me what was best, and I liked it. And actually, advisor now, Oriana, out there as well, does the same thing. And actually recommended Father Rontu, which she just said attendance is mandatory, and I think she thought I had the personality for him, and I did.
Excellent.
So
You're saying your academic advisor is just another person, right?
Yes.
Walking into it, I guess it would be kind of like walking when you become into a real.
They
job.
get to know you,
Yeah,
right?
The HR department can be kind of, oh no, what do I say? Can I
Right.
say this? And at the end of the day, you're talking to human beings. And if you have needs, if you have questions, and it can be silly, yeah, of course. Don't be afraid. Don't be timid with that kind of stuff, or shoot them an email. But I'm a big fan of the face-to-face, right?
Me too. I will say also, so coming from CCAC Community College, some of them don't actually get the academic advisor like assigned to them. It's just like round robin, whoever's available.
Sure.
And I could see going from the round robin, anybody like I'm never going to see this person again to like, oh no, this is my person. It's definitely a big jump. So I will say, get to know them. They will know you. You'll know them.
Absolutely. So another part of this is, you are not required, but you should do your own homework on your professor. And I think it's not a well-kept secret, but rate my professor, right? Rate. Now, there are some caveats to that, right? I talked about him before. Jonathan Dwyer was my favorite history professor, and I've had some amazing history professors. And his rate my professor is horrible. Talks too much, grades too hard.
Yeah.
It was, but I ended up really enjoying the class. So there is a little, they rated him 1 star, which I think if we told him that, he would be proud of that for some reason, because I think that's his personality type. So the rating I didn't agree with, but the comments I did, so they rate my professor is a wonderful. There's some truth in there. Maybe not pay attention so much to the rating, because when you pick your classes, you're just worried about hey, is it easy? Is it attainable? Is this guy, is this person, excuse me?
Like, am I going to buy 14 books that are like each $200?
Right.
And am I even going to use them or even read them or even open them?
Which is a wonderful point. So you should not buy your books until that first week of classes.
Read that syllabus.
They are going to put those on there, and then they're going to tell you, you're not going to need this one, or you're going to see someone else that's taking the class that says, you don't need this one. Do not buy your books the first week of class.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of, there's a bunch of outlets where you can buy cheap books or cheaper books, rent them, do all that stuff, but do not buy them because it is a pain in the butt, and you will forget, or I will forget, to return those books. It happens every semester. I want to be a good student. I want to have all my books in my cool leather bag, and I end up getting it and then keeping it the entire semester, knowing I could have gotten money back. And it is just, and I tell myself every semester, this year I'm going to wait, and then I never do, because that's the type of person I am. You know what else I want to talk about? That I think is very important when it comes to signing up for classes, or not signing up for classes, but being introduced to the Duquesne University, some people that are coming for the first time. The Bluff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Bluff, Duquesne, if you've never been here, is on a hill. It is on a steep, steep hill. It's like a little town on top of a mountain. With that, it's 10 degrees colder. It is 10. I have made the mistake of walking, seeing on my weather app that it's 60 degrees and it's 50. So sometimes that doesn't matter, right? The difference between 20 degrees and 30 degrees, there's not a difference. But the difference between 80 degrees and 90 degrees, not much of a difference. But when you're in that, mid-range, 30 and 40 is a big difference. 50 and 60s, do I bring a coat? Do I not bring a coat? So that is something. So just know, every time you look, if you want to dress or prepare for the next day, it is 10 degrees colder. Am I right about that?
Absolutely.
And there is a wind. There is a wind that is harsh, that hits you in the face.
I will say it's nice in the summertime, though. It's
like
nice. It's warm when it's warm out, but when it's a little colder, then it's like now it's not so much. It's just like a nice wind tunnel everywhere somehow.
Yeah. It's like getting smacked in the face.
Everywhere, no matter where you go.
And then another thing so with that, what to wear on your first day, right? What do you wear on first day? And some people come to class
Mankini.
like they just rolled out of bed, and then some people come to class like they're going on a date. Like, hey, after this 9:50 class, I'm meeting up with my Tinder person. So it is. So my point with saying that is nobody cares. Like, you dress comfortable. If you're comfortable dressing up, whatever, nobody cares. Everybody wears whatever they want. Mm-hmm. Obviously, college is that time to find yourself. You've heard all the cliches, and that is true, especially with what we wear.
I will say my first class furry suit, full furry suit.
No, I was so dirty. Like, I had
with the helmet and everything.
I had my clothes picked out. Like, my threads from Buckle. These kids will think I'm cool.
Not all spells the cowboy. Go full Texan.
Absolutely. No, so okay, I think that about covers it. So for that, if we'll cut this up and put it on the video or the YouTube probably, and so if you have any questions, and it's probably something we'll come back to, something we'll talk about as the semester goes on. But I just miss school. It's so weird.
Yeah,
I was
nice, right?
I want to talk about.
You actually get something you actually you're passionate for. Then nothing's going on. I'd rather keep learning. I agree. Yeah, I don't miss the test, the papers, all the other stuff. But if there was a way I could just go to school and just learn,
be creative, right? Yeah,
I would do it all day.
Absolutely, I'm with you. Look at us, a couple of nerds. All right, so guys, when we come back, we're going to talk about what everyone's not talking about. Well, some people are. The January 6th trials. All right, we'll be right back. That was good. You did really good.
You do really good, man. Oh, look at us, a couple of nerds.
I'm going to use the restroom.
All right.
I have 3 minutes.
Please. Take your time, man. We got plenty of it. What happened?
I'm too nervous to be late.
I mean, we'll be done before we realize it.
This is a TikTok song.
Really?
Mhm.
I must say, I do like this one. It started out slow. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really good. And then talking about the bluff on the being like on the side of a mountain, like this is very good. See what you did there.
I think I'm saying a lot because I can't read my handwriting. Look at this. I need better handwriting. Like, can you be like? Can you change your handwriting as an adult? Like, is that?
I feel like
physically
you
possible?
can, but you just have to like try.
Practice, but
Yeah, right. Who wants to practice? I will say it's funny. Funny you say that. Like I started doing like math by hand, just because you're not gonna have a calculator. Maybe I don't fucking know. Oh yeah. I'm like, oh crap. Yeah, but just like sometimes I'd be writing too fast. I'm like, wait, is that a 0? Is that a 7? Crap, and then I got to redo my math to make sure to figure out what the number is. So I'm the same way. Like just writing too fast, like trying to write too
you look
fast.
like the 10% that has small handwriting.
I do, and that's why like some of the zeros, some things overlap.
Are you sure you're not an engineer?
No, I'm not. I thought about that. I thought about that life. I'm like, it's not for me.
Yeah, really?
Nah.
Are you right side, left side?
Ambidextrous, but like to write a little more, depending on it. Like I write with my right hand, but like the catch with the left.
And we are back. So again, if you are catching us on the YouTube or the Facebook live feed, you get to see kind of a cool, like the background scene.
Of course, look at these nice lights. How do you not
So-
like these?
And we're untouchable on that. That's our own thing. It's the radio show where we are up against it. So anyway, let's talk about something fun. So okay, I'm in a very fortunate position because I don't have kids. I have a lot of time on my hands, right? So my free time is a lot more than most people's in terms of what I'm able to do. I don't know why I'm explaining what free time is, but I have more free time than a lot of people. So I understand it. So the way I like to take in information is I like to go straight to the source. And I kid you not, there are plenty of times, a lot of times where I actually not enjoy, but I'll have congressional hearings on because I don't want somebody to tell me what to think. And there are news sources that I trust, right? I subscribe to the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Post Gazette, and there's another one that I need to, but I keep forgetting to do it, and I just don't want to pay $2.99 a month. So, but even with those, there's a bias that's in there, right? It's impossible not to have a sort of bias. So I'd rather have the information in front. I'd rather get it from the source, the primary source, hear what's going on. I'd like to understand, how the process works. I have a lot of questions. The way our government, the legislation is complicated, and it's complicated by design in order, to try to keep some kind of checks and balance. So I'm a big fan of going to the source information, but most people don't have that. So what they end up doing is reading news sources or seeing clips and things like that. So I feel like you're losing something in there.
Absolutely.
And what happens a lot in these congressional hearings, and then there is definitely an advantage when you have a majority and when you have a minority. But what happens for the most part is Republicans go in. Let me stay away from that. So one party goes in and they'll have 2 minutes to speak, and a lot of times certain representatives, Jim Jordan, will not stick to the questions at hand, but they will end up asking questions where they are grandstanding, where they know that they have a limited time and they're going to use 15, 25 seconds to try to get a soundbite so they will play on the evening news. That is a strategy. It's a strategy for a long time. It's a strategy that works. The Republicans are extremely well organized. They're in line. They have a set strategy when they go to a lot of these congressional things. And that goes for the Senate as well. The Democrats, they're just a mess. They're all over the place. You can't get them in line. Some of them try to, really ask questions. They try to grandstand, but they're not good at it, right? Democrats are not good politicians for the most part. They're almost inept. It's just such it's a poop show, to put it nicely. When it comes to the Democratic Party. And it's been that way for probably the past 10, 12 years, but it's definitely been that way for the past 4 years or 8 years for sure. We'll say 8 years, but it's been more than that. So these congressional hearings, I have listened to the first two. The third one, which was today, I was able to listen to the first part of it. And then when it got to the good stuff, I had to do a conference call. So I'll catch up on it and watch the rest of it, in the upcoming week. So here's how I want people to look at it. Let's say that Donald Trump, let's say you believe he is a good president, and I think the common, the phrase I keep hearing is, I would take $2 a gallon and if I could have mean tweets, which again is fair. I don't believe, I think it's much more complicated about that. We don't have good discourse when it comes to economic policies and things like that. But for the sake of argument, let's say that is true, right? Let's say that the former President Trump was an excellent businessman and he was good for the economy. Again, that is not something that I agree with, but let's say for the sake of argument that is true, right? What these hearings are showing is that former President Trump knew without a shadow of a doubt the election results, right? And that is not just coming from the Democrats saying this is one thing and Republicans are saying another thing. What this is he had close advisors, including people he appointed to his own cabinet. His family members were telling him, listen, you lost this election. These theories that you're coming up with, they're bogus. They're not right. There's no reason to look into this because they're so out of it. And he knew that the election results were it, right? Whether he believed that information was accurate or not, enough people in his company, enough people that he appointed, every forensic, what word am I looking for? Investigation into these into these votes came out that this democratic process worked again, right? And it's going to continue to work if it doesn't fall to the shams with the upcoming actions that could happen. So the problem is when you have a president that knows that the election is not his, and he goes out and tries to change those results, what you're doing is you are eroding the democratic republic process that we've had in place since, with some changes, obviously with some changes, but since 1780, since 1780, right? 1776 was, we didn't elect Washington. So it is, what do you do, right? So you have a president who is denying, just forgetting the electoral results and wanted to change it in his favor. That is a big deal. That is a huge deal. That is, you're going to ruin everything that this country stands for. We have to hold him accountable. The executive branch, and I've been saying this for a long time, and it's not a conspiracy. I mean, Dick Cheney, when before September 9/11, when Dick Cheney took vice presidency, he said, my main goal is to continue the growth of the executive office. I want the executive office to have more power, right? Because he thought that they could get more stuff done if the president had more power. That's a very logical. That makes sense. I don't agree with it, but that makes sense. And what keeps happening is the president, the executive branch scope keeps getting bigger. They're allowed to do more. They have their hands in more things, and it's eroding the other branches of government. So now you have a guy where 35% of the American people will listen to him no matter what. Like he has that voter base locked in. 30 to 35% of the people that vote are going to vote for him no matter what. And he is doing things that are unconstitutional, that are wrecking the United States. And they were, to be honest with you, dangerous. They were harmful. People died. It's nuts. And all because he lost an election. He refused to believe those results. And they've done a ton audits. That's the word I was looking for. That's the word. These audits that were done by both the Democratic and Republican outside sources, they all came up with the same thing. If you don't believe in the electoral process, right? If you think it is corrupt, we are in a much worse spot than we could have imagined. And the truth is that there are so many safeguards there. It is a boring process. Each state does something different, right? Pennsylvania, they don't count their inbound votes as was decided by Republicans until after all the in-house votes are counted, right? But not every state does that, right? It's a tough process to follow because you have 50 different states do it, right? So I understand why some people would be questioning that, but when you look into the information, when the facts are there presented in front of you, and you're refusing to believe that because you think the American democracy is ruined or it's a sham, that is a much, much bigger issue. And quite frankly, maybe you should leave the country, right? As soon as the institutions fall by the wayside, we have a lot bigger problems, and these types of conversations will become a lot more pointed. But we're not at that, right? Some of these institutions of course, they're corrupted. Of course, it's of course, there's bad seeds and, corporations and all that stuff. And I can go in my progressive, liberal, socialist, whatever words you want to use to describe me rant. But at the end of the day, the foundation of this country, of the democratic process, of the republic that we have chosen to sustain, it does work. So when you have an executive, when you have the most powerful man, maybe in the world, but definitely in the country, that is going out of his way to overturn what we the people decided, right? And listen, elections don't always turn out the way they're supposed to. That's part of being a democracy, right? You have a boring vanilla guy, and you have a charismatic, of course you'd think logically that guy's going to win, but sometimes the elections, they just don't pan out. And it's not the end of the world, right? You get ready, you go on to the next one. But he is so stubborn to the point where it is causing the democratic process not only to be questioned, but to maybe have repercussions that may not be fixable. So what do you do, right? What do you do when you have a president that is refusing election results? And I do not believe that he should go to jail. I think it is a much harder and much fiercer road when we start putting politicians in jail. I think that leads a level of political gains for the other side that I think will have horrible effects down the road, right? Because again, the pendulum does swing, right? Yes, we have Donald Trump, who, again, I'm not a fan of, but that pendulum will swing. And then there'll be a Democratic version of Donald Trump, right? And what do we do then, right? And then are we going to jail that opponent, things like that. So when you start jailing political opponents, that is a quick road to fascism. And I know that word gets thrown out a lot, but if you've seen how other countries work, once they start jailing people, once they start jailing heads of state, as guilty as they are, it does lead to a very scary precedent. Now, what we can do is we can borrow from office, right? You didn't like the elections. You went out of your way. You tried to ruin the democratic process. You tried to say our votes didn't count. Yeah, you can't participate. You play by the rules or get out. You can't do this anymore. Totally fine with that. That's well within our constitutional uh, limits, if you will. So what I'm asking you guys to do, right, especially the ones that think that Trump may have been, that these democratic processes are corrupt and that he really did win the election. And you read on Facebook that there were 23 million votes in a river. What I really, really want you to do is watch the first day of the congressional hearings. Just watch it, and you'll see that there's overloading of evidence. Well, Zach, it's only Democrats. Of course, they're going to tell you that. Well, then you can go further than that. Read the reports. They're available on whitehouse.gov. That's not it, but these reports are available. You hear it all the time. Do your own research. I'm not getting the vaccine or whatever you hear. And the truth of the matter is that information is available. It's there. Facts are facts. These are real. And we really need to take a look at how we think our representatives that we elect should be held accountable. And at some point, the buck's got to drop. I get it. You like him. You think he did well in the economy. That's fine. But he did something way worse that could have repercussions down the road. Because if he gets away with this, if this goes like a fart in the night, so there's probably a more poetic way I could have said that. But if he goes and none of this matters, it is going to open a door for possibilities of what people will do, the boundaries that'll push it. It'll keep extending executive power, and this is a sure way to end the American experiment. So with that, I hope that was coherent. I always get nervous when I do my rants. I hope I didn't lose a lot of listeners on that, but that ends Act 3?
Indeed.
All right. So, Jeff, anything to add to that?
Oh, yeah. You're good.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to end this thing. Oh, I didn't do the music part. No, wrong song. Okay. When we come back, we'll end things. Some chill music.
Nice. Ooh. Yeah, that was good, man. For a second there, I thought you were going to say we should kill him. But come on, do it. Come on, say it. Get him to the old guillotines. Bust out the gallows. I was like, come on, go for the extreme. Let's do it. Come on. I know you got it in you. What's the last thing we're going to be on? We'll just wrap up and say goodbye.
Yeah, Father's Day kind of stuff.
All right. But you kids? You spend time with the kids?
I don't have kids.
No.
I have a cat.
That's a kid. Think it up. That cat better get you some tuna of some kind. Yeah, no, cats are little assholes. Actually, is your cat a nice cat?
No, but she can be. She's very fickle.
Yeah, little asshole. Got it.
Whoa. Whoa. I really like this band. I need to listen to that. So the trick to these transitions is turn the mic volume up while the song's going. in that crazy love. All right, welcome back. Hey, so Father's Day is coming up.
That it is.
Excellent. So make sure everybody says, don't forget, right? You know, your parents want to talk to you, right? I know.
Give them a call.
Right, give them a call, shoot them a text, right?
Anything.
Yeah.
Not busy. Go see them.
Do that thing. Do that.
The Facebook.
Yeah, do the social media thing. Put that post on. I think it's a really good idea. Not weird at all. No, but seriously, call your parents. Right, call your dad. Right?
Try to.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll appreciate it. I get it. Right, you're in college. You got your own free person. It's the summertime, right? But you know that stuff means a lot. It's always good to check in. And you know, as flawed as some of our some parents can be, usually they offer great advice. Well, most of the time they offer great advice. So just make sure you do that. Give them it doesn't have to be expensive. What do cards cost now? $8?
If that.
Right. Thanks a lot, Joe Biden. Thanks, Obama. But no, Father's Day is coming up. Do that. Jeff, you got any big plans for your Father's Day for your papa?
Nothing. Just going to say, like you said, just going to say hello.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's cooking. How
How
about you?
I'll say I don't have my dad died in a boating accident years ago. It was in the news. He was a fisherman on the Mississippi. So actually, I just made that up. I haven't talked to my dad in years. I actually don't think very highly of him, but I have a lot of great leadership, great people in my life that I really love and respect that I'll shoot a text to. But I'm not doing the Facebook thing. That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
Tell you
Facebook. I'm not a good picture taker as it is. So there are no good pictures of me. I'm not going to put an ugly picture of me up because,
Oh, that's what I do.
because I had a positive male role model. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen until something major happens. Like you get us,
I just
Like
put
you
up the
died.
pictures. Oh God!
Like you were saying.
I put up the pictures just to say, hey, look at the freak show. Everyone gets lit.
Well, you have good photos though. Like you're a good photo. Stop.
Like, come. Look at the freak. Look at the freak right here.
You're insane.
And I'm just standing there. Hey, how's everybody?
Dude, I take the worst pictures. I have when I was online dating, I was the opposite of a catfish. I was more like you're gonna meet me, I'm being more attractive. I promise. I had to use that to.
I wish there was a way they could inject alcohol when they look at my picture. That's how much help I need.
No, Jeff's Jeff's a very good looking guy. He's absolutely insane. Anything big coming up this week? Do anything cool?
Nothing cool. Just relaxing. Gonna see what the weather does because thunderstorms, heat. Make up your mind, Mother Nature.
Sure, absolutely.
How about you? What you got planned?
Oh, I got stuff for this internship. I got this job that I hate.
Working hard.
Pretty
Keep it
much
up.
Yeah. Top Gun. So how much time? I've got 4 minutes. Okay. So Jim, I have an issue here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't like action movies, right?
Really?
The worst part of a movie to me is a car chase. I think car chases, they don't add anything to the movie. I never know what's going on when the guy's driving. I vroom, vroom, and vrooms, and probably because I'm a bad driver, so maybe I'm a little bit jealous. Maybe there's some projection on that, but I just think they're so dumb. That it doesn't. Fast and Furious movies. Stop.
Do you hate the driving or do you hate the editing? The over editing?
It takes me out of the submersion, right? I'm in the movie, I'm into it, right? The new Batman movie. I love that movie. But the car chase, and that would never, none of those things can happen. You're never gonna get in those kinds of car chases. It's insane. So I don't like those kinds of movies, right? But a lot of people I respected and whose opinions I value, especially when it comes to cinema, said it's a great movie. IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, great scores. And I went to see this movie and I hated it. It was so corny. I mean, and I feel like I'm wrong. My opinion is right. If so many people, I don't want to be a contrarian. I want.
Well, if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's
fine.
It
was so.
You don't have to like it because everyone else does.
Dude, I may join Scientology though. Tom Cruise looks amazing. That dude is he looks younger than I do.
I'm going to say how old is he now? Because he's
59. We looked it up. He is okay. I mean, he's a gorgeous man. He's a physical specimen, and
I may join you in that Scientology.
Sure. I don't think they take black people.
Oh.
I think that's the thing. I think they got in trouble for that, right? I may be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking about Mormons.
I mean, the fact of both of them.
Yeah, sure. But if I know I think it's like a pyramid scheme. So I'll get you in, right? You can.
Boom, and then I can get 2 people in, they can get 2 people in, and boom, we'll be at the top.
Perfect. But so everybody really likes that movie. You shouldn't listen to my opinion on it. What am I missing? Please let me know. What am I missing about Top Gun? Is it
I'm curious.
Maybe is it because it's like the first one? I got a minute. I'm just gonna say one more thing and may go a little bit. So the Rocky movies, right? Rocky movies again, they're corny movies, but they're great classics, right?
Yeah.
And then they came out with the Creed movies. Those movies were amazing. They did a great job retelling the story, not so corny, but still keeping intact with what Rocky's about and all that, and the themes of that. So that's kind of what I thought I was gonna do when I went to this movie, but it wasn't that. It was just so corny, and it was. I physically groaned in that movie like 3 times, and and they're good actors. Tom Cruise, I don't think he's a good actor, but Jennifer Connelly's a great actress. Miles Teller is a great actor. What am I missing?
I think you need to watch it like 3 more times.
Maybe I do deserve that handicap parking spot. Maybe.
Now you got me curious. I need to watch it this week too.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna end with. Oh wait, no, I have a catchphrase. Oh wait, let me do this.
Oh, what you got? Come on.
I got the music on. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. And be good to each other.
I like it. I started thinking of all of the ones from the bad Zach. I was like, oh crap, he's gonna say All Lives Matter.